their life either, fine, but the fact that humanity can do that is very important to our progress as a species. And furthermore, essentially any human could be taught to do that with a sufficient amount of education, whereas, I mean, the LLMs in their current form fundamentally can't be taught to do that. Creativity is another fundamental limitation. Now, ChatGPT can write a poem in any genre on any topic in a variety of languages. Very cool. On the other hand, they're all mediocre at best poetry, right? I mean, it can't, these systems cannot create with fundamental oomph of feeling and creative innovation that people can, because they're just being derivative, that they're retreading and recombining what's fed into them. And that's fundamental to their architectures. And these two limitations tie together, actually, because if you want to be radically creative, some part of your mind has to throw out like wild, crazy stuff that's way out there. To do that, you need to have, in some ways, a solid grounding to filter through all the crazy stuff that your mind comes up with, right? So that the lack of reasoning ability prevents these systems from doing complex multi-chain reasoning. It also prevents them from rigorously grounding their inventions in observed reality. And their lack of creativity means they can't come up with wild, crazy ideas going beyond their training data, and they can't filter their wild, crazy ideas based on reality. So, I mean, there's severe limitations there. On the other hand, these are still quite amazing systems, which I think can revolutionize the world economy. And this has to do with some other limitations that come out of the way these systems are currently mostly controlled by large corporations that are sort of channeling them to do highly specific things in accordance with their business models. And I'll come back to all these points later. So while large language models are not general intelligences, and I don't think they can be tweaked into being general intelligences in the way that people are, just by minor adjustments to their architectures. I do think they can be significant components of generally intelligent AI systems, and this is something underlying a bunch of my own current research. So there's a number of different approaches going on in the planet today to take what we have now with large language models like ChatGPT and other open source language models, like the Llama model that Facebook put out there, Claude by Anthropic, or a host of others. How do you take these large language models and try to use them as an ingredient of something that could really be an AGI system, and perhaps a human-level AGI system, or smarter than humans? One approach is to just add things on to large language models bit by bit, right? And I mean, this is the approach that OpenAI is taking. So they have a plugin architecture. They've connected ChatGPT with Wolfram Alpha, which is a logical reasoning system based on a bunch of data. They've connected it with various other neural nets for image analytics. They've connected it with search AI tools that came out of Microsoft's Bing architecture. And the hope there is, by adding more and more of these add-ons into a large language model, you can move it toward general intelligence. And you can try to add, say, a long-term memory on there so that the LLM can retain a history of what it said to different people over multiple interactions. So that's a meaningful research direction. There's smart people working on it with a lot of money. I think that's probably not going to be the route that gets to human level AGI, because I think large language models can serve as a component of an AGI system. I'm skeptical they can serve as sort of the central hub or component of an AGI system. So my approach to AGI is a little bit different, and this is fairly technical, so I'm not going to go through everything about it here. If you look at the website trueagi.io, you can find